Welcome to EvenSong. Hello, and welcome to EvenSong. I am Liz Hoffman Bauer, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Black music industry. Last week, this is Black History Week, for instance. Last week we had Ruth Ann Engel, and she talked about some of her thoughts on Martin Luther King. Our music has so many Black roots, so many roots from our Black brothers and sisters. There are threads going through almost everything we do in the music. Let's talk about the slaves. They had a pretty tough life, and they started with spirituals. Some of them were rather bad and helped them get rid of their bad thoughts. Some of them were just so joyful, and the spirituals were their main things. Now, things they did with spirituals, they'd have somebody over here in the corner and stand up and shout out a word or a name. And then there'd be a group of people over here that would be working, and they'd decide to make up a story about them or some sort of a couple of sentences about them. That kind of helped them keep going. There's something I read that you won't believe. Maybe you will, but I didn't know it. They also did beatboxing, BEAT boxing. Like, I didn't think that there was something until the on American Idol, I think his name was Blake something, and he did beatboxing, and I thought that was the first, but the slaves did that too. You know that you wouldn't need anything other than your mouth and your natural rhythm to go about, and they did that. After the war, they just didn't know what to do with themselves very much. It was awful hard for them. You brought her over here, controlled it all, but they had so many decisions to make. Some of them went into classical music. Again, that's new to me. And if they were in a university setting, college setting, they were not allowed to be in the bands or the choruses or the orchestras, no matter how good a musician they were. They joined the bands at Fisk and Howard and some of all the Black universities. But one of those that I thought was really kind of ingenious was around the Chicago area. They had something called the Clef, CLEF, Clef Club, Clef on your music, and they took people of color in there. Things started exploding a few more years. Duke Ellington was in New York at the Cotton Club. He had an all-Black orchestra, or band, I guess they called it in those days, and people that went said that he had chords they'd never heard of before. Now then, down in New Orleans, we had Basin Street Blues with Louis Armstrong. All around, we had Count Basie and Dizzy Gillespie and Jelly Roll Morton. So much jazz, and it was hard sometimes for the white people, and they sometimes, if they Black, they called it race music, or if they really wanted to put it down, they called it jungle music. But mostly we loved their jazz, and we loved the artists that came about with that. Soon there were the vocalists, Ella Fitzgerald and Gladys Knight and the Pips. I'm trying to think of some more. Wonderful musicians, and I better stop and go and tell you who's going to play tonight. Barry Drudge will be doing Southern Gospel. Barry is a professional. I've known that. He traveled several weeks or maybe months with Dottie Rambo's group, the award-winning She Has Doves, Dottie Rambo. And he's going to take a segment tonight. Our set. Barry is a popular artist around the area. She sings with the from Manchester University. The last one will be David Drudd. He's with Friends Weather, the staff in the department, and I love coordinates at the church. And while it's still online, he's very, very creative. Go, Gary.